So here we are in magnificently sunny Norfolk, and we're here to talk to you about the concept of zooming with your feet. Let's get to it. So as you can see behind me, we've got a lovely red telephone box here next to this pretty old local pub here in Norfolk. And we decided to photograph this as it is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for single subjects in the landscape that are different from people as well as animals, I guess. And it's important to shoot things like this as they will actually form a large part of the kind of things that most people will actually shoot. So here we didn't shoot it with a variety of different apertures. We shot it just at f8 as there isn't actually much depth behind the red telephone box. And I think what's important here is to really learn as to what your preferences are. Using the term zooming with your feet is not necessarily universal. What you will find the more experience you get in shooting with these lenses is that you'll actually have a preference for a certain focal length. So some people will prefer the compression a longer lens will give you from further back versus getting really close with a wider lens and getting some of that natural distortion with the lens. Obviously fisheye lenses are extremely popular still, but obviously it is down to your preference. However, in terms of how you compose the single subject within your frame is an important distinction that you need to make as to what it is that your lens is doing to create that look. Getting a nice image that you're happy with is not as simple as just moving forward with your choice of lens. It is a really, really good idea to think about what lenses you have, what they do, and how they behave, and how you apply them in the field. One of the important things to actually photograph is live subjects. So aside from people, I think animals are a great way to tell how lenses behave. Now obviously we've got two lovely dogs that we're going to be photographing in a minute, and we have all the lenses that we've mentioned before. We have the 16mm, the 50-35, the 35 prime, then we have the 85 and the 70-200. So the whole point of that exercise in terms of including some of the zooms in there is to see how zooms behave comparatively to their prime counterparts as well, as everything plays a part in terms of how an image is seen. So that in combination with going forward or stepping back will also have an effect on depth of field, which will affect the overall look of your image. And the point of that is to show you that zooming with your feet, so moving forward or moving back, is not as simple as you might think. So here we are in lovely Kensington Beach, in one of my favorite sites, this pillbox site, which has clearly fallen into the sea. And if you don't know what pillboxes are, they were actually remnants from World War II that were scattered here along the coast. And because of the coastal erosion here in Norfolk, they've actually fallen into the sea. We're actually here specifically to shoot this pillbox, as it's a singular subject in the landscape that we've actually got a chance to move forward into and back as well with the longer lenses. And I guess it gives me the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the extremes of the focal lengths that we're using. So we're using a 16mm, which is the widest, and we've got 200mm at the telephoto end. In terms of extremes, that means that you have distortion at one end and the wide, and then you have compression at the other end. And that's going to have a huge effect in terms of how your images look. With distortion, if you're standing way back from something, doing a landscape, then you might not see the effects of distortion. So for example, if I was stood here photographing the cliffs in front of me, even further back, they're not going to distort that much because they're quite far away from me. However, as soon as you start going forward with a really wide lens, those subjects will begin to have an effective distortion that makes them look effectively pointier rather than flatter, and that has a huge effect on your images when you move forward or back. Equally, with telephotos, they create compression. So it seems that the things in the foreground, so the immediate place in front of you against the subject that you're actually shooting, will appear closer than they are. And obviously, with a long lens, even when you're shooting at very small apertures like f8 and f11, you're still going to get not very thin depth of field, but not everything will be sharp beyond your subject. Again, something that you want to consider when you're actually using these lenses. So I'm standing here at what I call 200mm distance to the pillbox to actually get it in frame in the same way as I did on 16mm. So I'm standing here and the pillbox is all the way down there. So what I'll do now is I'm going to show you the rough distances of where you need to be with these different focal lengths to actually get the pillbox in your frame in roughly the same way. The pillbox, obviously being a sizable unit, it means that the distances you have to go in between the two extremes of the focal length are just bigger. But it's interesting. So that's something to consider as well, that you will have to cover a wider distance for a bigger subject. So 200mm, 70mm, 35mm, 16mm. Whew. Come on viewers, follow me. So we're going to do some portraits now. I think it's important to show you exactly how these lenses render portraits at different distances and see what the distortion effects as well as compression does to a human face. And we're actually going to use Luke's lovely face. Obviously we'll have no video evidence of this, but I'm hoping to actually illustrate how these lenses perform on Luke in just a minute. We're starting with the 16mm and we'll work our way over to the 200mm. It goes without saying that you will obviously use very specific lenses for specific things. Everything we've talked about today doesn't come into play, for example, if you're just doing wildlife photography where you're likely going to be using very long lenses. This is more a general piece for more general photography and to show as well kind of what lens behavior is like, especially when it's combined as well with aperture as we've tried to show. Now, for me personally, my sweet spot has always been between 28 and 50mm. And largely from all the cameras that I've personally owned, all of my lenses have always been in that range. But the more you shoot with something, the more you begin to learn as to what is good for what. So obviously, if I want to shoot, let's say, an interior, I will probably use a 28mm. But there are times when the 28mm is on my camera and I can just move forward and I will still change to the 50 just because I prefer the way the 50 renders. And I think that's the same with the lenses that we've tried today. They exist in that focal range that is most used by people, be it hobbyists as well as pros. And each time you make a choice, it is usually based upon how you want that scene to look. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time.